Hello and welcome to Haven House Healing. This is my studio here on the cliffs in the far north of Scotland, and I am coming from a background in being an artist, but using all of the creativity that I have learned in my 12 years of being an artist to improve your well-being. So today I want to give you a demonstration in watercolour pencil and how we can use watercolour pencils when we are out and about with our sketchbooks, and we can use the technique that I'm going to show you today. So I would encourage you to take the technique outside into nature and use the watercolour pencils because they're so portable and light to carry, but you can use them like watercolours. So that's the joy of them, is that they're light and portable, quite quick to dry, but really minimal equipment wise. So stay tuned, and today you're going to learn how to use them in your sketchbook. So the equipment materials that you need today are watercolour paper, any size, any sketchbook, as long as it's watercolour to hold the water. Watercolour pencils, as many as you would like. A pencil, it doesn't have to be specifically for sketching, it can be just an HB pencil, and a rubber. And then you will need either a pot of water with an assortment and variety of paintbrushes, but not too many, just a small selection, or something like this, which is a watercolor sketching brush. So what happens is you fill this canister with water and then you squeeze, and the water comes out the end of the brush. Okay, this is the photograph that I am using for the reference. But like I said, it's lovely if you can go out and observe directly, but for the sake of today's tuition, I'm inside in the studio, and it's a winter's day, so I'm not going outside. But this is the photograph that I actually took myself in the forest. So begin by roughly sketching in your composition. At this point, you are not looking at shading, you are literally looking at shapes. So I'm just going to draw in the path, and I'll show you. It's like just the basic outline of the different shapes. So that's the path. And then let's just maybe put some trees in, but that might be all you really need to do just to get this plotted in. It really is that basic. And just be mindful, as with watercolours, so just look at this section here with the sun, that you are using the white of the paper for the white. So just be aware that you're not going to put any colour in that section, which is there. And maybe just to be aware that maybe that little path there has got some green at the bottom of the trees. Yeah, pretty much there. I mean, it doesn't take long, does it? So that's the outline. And I'm happy that we can then build the picture around that. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to start laying in the colour. So I'm going to start with the background and just put in some of this blue that's in the sky. Then I'll probably blend the blue and then bring the greens and all the foliage and the trees on over the top. But let me just show you what happens when we start to build up the colour. At this stage, you're not using water at all. You're using the pencils like you would as colouring pencils. So that was just two basic colours that I did really quickly. So you've got the blue, one colour of blue, one colour of green. What you now need to think about as you are building up the picture is to colour mix as you go. So I think the green that I was using was this green, but what I'm going to now do, if you look at the photograph, we've got some yellows that are in the foreground. So now I'm going to colour mix, so bring in some yellow with the green at the same time, and even thinking about the texture. So this bit here is quite rough, and also thinking about composition in a painting or a scene is that your more saturated colours are in the foreground. So I'm pressing now quite hard with the pencil so that I'm getting more colour onto the page, in much the same way you would manage the consistency of your paint if you were painting with watercolours or maybe acrylics, in that you would be watering down the paint or maybe using thicker paint in the foreground to show that there is foreground, and that in the background the colours are more muted. So I'm just building up the texture, colour mixing as we go. That seems like everything is based in at the moment, so I'm not worrying about detail. It's just literally blocking in the colours, a little bit of colour mixing, so I'm knowing where everything's going. I've now picked up the squeezy brush and we're just going to get to washing, and then we will do this, let it dry, and then we will go back and bring out the detail afterwards. So let's see how we get on with this. That's the first wash done. Now it is all about building up the picture with detail, so you can go over the top of what you've just done with pencil marks, with more blending, with really fine tipped pencils to work into your detail. So have fun with this process. This is where you completely sink into relaxation and just forget everything about but what's in front of you. So that was my watercolour pencil technique from start to finish. There's probably more that I could do in this sketch, but that was a quick sketch for you guys. So there's two tips to remember. So when you are doing your base colours at the beginning, remember where your white is and leave white sections if necessary. But also remember that down here there was like light shining as well, so just be aware of where the light is before you even begin your sketch. And number two is that you are in charge of the consistency of the colour. So you can use really light washes to begin, but as you're progressing through the sketch, remember to increase the pressure on the pencil and you will get more colour onto your paper, and then you can wash and then you can come back over as many times as you need to. So just keep going and progressing through the painting and getting into your detail on the top stages. I hope that helps. Remember to share your pictures. There's a Facebook group, Haven House Arties. But I would love to see how you get on with your watercolor pencil technique. If you want to keep in touch with me, you can find me at havenhousehealing.com. Remember to like this video and share if you like what you have learned. Much love.